Did you know that some of the most beloved meals from the past are nearly extinct today? From family favorites to iconic restaurant dishes, many of these dinners have faded into history. But why did they disappear? And could they ever make a comeback? Today, we're diving into 20 famous dinners that once ruled the dinner tables across America, but are now nearly forgotten. Some of them were essential comfort foods, while others symbolized luxury and fine dining. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, I'll reveal a dish with an ingredient so shocking it caused a scandal in the culinary world. How many of these dishes have you tried? Comment below and let us know which ones you remember. Mulligan Stew. Mulligan Stew was a hearty meal born out of necessity during the Great Depression. It was a whatever-you-have kind of dish, made with ingredients that people could gather, often shared among families or even entire communities. People would toss whatever meat, vegetables, or scraps they had into a pot, creating a stew that was simple yet filling. The beauty of Mulligan Stew was its flexibility. There was no set recipe. Some versions included potatoes, carrots, onions, and sometimes even leftover meats like pork or beef. It was a dish of survival, but also one that brought people together during hard times. While it's rarely seen today, Mulligan Stew holds a special place in American history as a reminder of resilience and community. Have you or your family ever made a meal like this? Let us know in the comments. Chicken a la Maryland. Chicken a la Maryland was once a celebrated dish that graced both royal banquets and everyday American homes. Known for its golden, crispy fried chicken served with a rich cream sauce, it combined the best of comfort food and fine dining. The dish's origins trace back to Maryland in the early 19th century, but its appeal quickly spread across the U.S. and even made its way onto menus at fancy European banquets. What made it so popular was its unique preparation. The chicken was pan-fried until perfectly crispy, then paired with creamy sauces, sometimes with bananas or corn fritters on the side. An unusual combination, but one that delighted diners. It was a dish that symbolized both comfort and elegance, loved by everyday families and royalty alike. But what happened to this once celebrated dish, and why did it disappear? We'll get to that soon. Salmon Patties. Yes, canned salmon. Before you judge, this was a family-friendly staple in the 1960s. Salmon patties were easy to make, budget-friendly, and packed with protein, which made them a go-to for busy moms. The recipe was simple: mashed canned salmon, breadcrumbs, eggs, and some seasoning, all formed into patties and fried to a crispy golden finish. Despite the humble ingredients, they were beloved for their taste and convenience. Would you still eat salmon patties today? Surprisingly, some modern versions are making a comeback, using fresh salmon and more gourmet ingredients like herbs and panko breadcrumbs. But for many, the original version carries a nostalgic charm that just can't be replaced. We're just getting started. Coming up, we'll talk about a dish that was once too luxurious for the average family, but is now nowhere to be found on dinner tables. Mock turtle soup. Believe it or not, mock turtle soup was a popular dish in the 19th century, and it even fooled people into thinking they were eating real turtle. In fact, it was made using cheaper cuts of meat like calf's head, mimicking the texture and flavor of turtle meat. This creative dish was born out of necessity, as real turtles were expensive and hard to come by. Mock turtle soup became a staple at formal dinners and was often served at special occasions, giving people a taste of luxury on a budget. Have you ever heard of mock turtle soup? Comment yes or no below. Coddled eggs. This delicate dish was once the it breakfast, especially during the Victorian era. Coddled eggs were cooked gently in hot water, just enough to firm up the whites while keeping the yolks soft and creamy. They were often served with toast or as part of a larger breakfast spread. Simple yet elegant, they became a favorite among the upper class for their refined texture and taste. But why did coddled eggs fall out of favor? As faster cooking methods like frying or scrambling became popular, the slower, more delicate preparation of coddled eggs became less practical in modern kitchens. But the next dish on our list caused a much bigger stir. Baked Alaska. Imagine it's the 1950s and you're at an elegant dinner party. The lights dim and the waiters glide out, carrying plates topped with what looks like a regular cake. But then, flames rise as the dessert is flambéed right at the table. This was the magic of Baked Alaska, the showstopper of mid-century gatherings. A dessert of ice cream encased in sponge cake, all covered with a layer of meringue. It was broiled just long enough to crisp the meringue without melting the ice cream inside. The combination of cold ice cream and warm meringue left guests in awe, and it became a symbol of culinary flair. There's an even crazier dessert coming up later, so stay tuned for that. Welsh Rarebit. Welsh Rarebit, a cheesy and savory delight, was once a favorite across both Europe and America. This dish was essentially a rich cheese sauce, flavored with mustard and spices, poured over toasted bread. It was a simple yet indulgent comfort food, perfect for a quick lunch or a casual dinner. In the mid-1900s, Welsh Rarebit found its place on tables everywhere, from cozy family kitchens to popular restaurants thanks to its warm, satisfying flavors. Pigeon Pie. Yes, pigeon. Believe it or not, this was once considered a delicacy and served in the finest homes across Europe and America. Pigeon pie was a rich, savory dish made with tender pigeon meat, often combined with vegetables and encased in a buttery pie crust. It was a luxurious meal, enjoyed by the wealthy, especially in the 1800s. Though the idea of eating pigeon might seem strange today, it was quite common back then. Comment below. Would you ever eat pigeon pie? Eggs Sardou. Eggs Sardou is a French Creole dish that took New Orleans by storm in the late 19th century. Named after the French dramatist Victorien Sardou, it was a luxurious breakfast item that combined poached eggs, artichoke bottoms, and creamy hollandaise sauce, all placed on a bed of spinach. The richness of the dish, with its delicate balance of flavors, made it a must-try for those dining in the city's finest restaurants. Egg Sardou quickly became a signature New Orleans dish, captivating locals and tourists alike with its French-inspired decadence. But wait, there's a dish with an even more shocking ingredient that we'll reveal soon. Terrapin Stew. Terrapin Stew was once considered a luxurious dish, especially popular in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Made with soft-shelled turtle, it was a symbol of high-class dining, served at fancy banquets and in upscale restaurants. The stew was slow-cooked, often with butter, sherry, and aromatic spices, creating a rich and flavorful meal that was enjoyed by the elite. Back in the day, seeing Terrapin Stew listed on a menu was a sure sign of fine dining. Imagine a vintage menu from the 1800s with Terrapin Stew listed at a high price, signaling its exclusive nature. Victory Loaf. Victory Loaf was a wartime meal born from necessity during World War II. With food rationing in full effect, families had to get creative with limited ingredients. The loaf was made from a mix of cheap meats, breadcrumbs, and whatever vegetables were available, turning simple and scarce ingredients into a hearty meal. It symbolized the resilience of families during tough times, proving that even in hardship, people could still come together for a home-cooked meal. Imagine your family around the table, making the best of what they had. Would something like this even fit in today's health-conscious world? Squab. Once a fine dining favorite, Squab, a young pigeon, was a delicacy enjoyed at some of the most prestigious restaurants. Known for its tender, flavorful meat, squab was considered a luxury dish, often served roasted or in stews. Despite its popularity in the early 20th century, squab has almost disappeared from modern menus, replaced by more common poultry like chicken and duck. Do you think squab should make a comeback? Hit like if you do. Turducken. What do you get when you stuff a turkey with a duck with a chicken? Turducken, a meal that was a little too much for most people to handle. This over-the-top holiday dish became popular in the early 2000s as a novelty, especially in the southern U.S., where it was a fun, if excessive, twist on the traditional Thanksgiving turkey. Despite its unique layers of flavors, the sheer effort and size of the dish made it more of a spectacle than a long-lasting tradition. But there's an even more mind-blowing holiday dish that we'll reveal at the end of the video: corned beef and cabbage. Once a staple dish, especially around St. Patrick's Day, corned beef and cabbage became a symbol of Irish-American pride. The beef, cured in a brine with spices, was slow-cooked to tender perfection and served with boiled cabbage. This hearty and comforting meal brought warmth to many family tables, especially during cold seasons. It wasn't just a dish. It was a celebration of heritage and togetherness, especially for Irish immigrants in the United States, where it became a beloved tradition. Did your family ever serve this meal? Tell us in the comments. But wait, the next dish has roots that go even deeper into American tradition: beef Wellington. Imagine a golden, flaky pastry perfectly wrapping around a tender beef fillet, with a layer of savory mushroom duxelles tucked inside. This is beef Wellington, a dish that was the epitome of fine dining in the 1950s. Often served at high-end restaurants or at formal dinners, it was the go-to meal for special occasions, impressing guests with its rich flavors and elegant presentation. Each slice revealed a beautiful contrast between the crisp pastry, soft mushrooms, and succulent beef. Curious about more forgotten dishes from the past? Make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Next up, we have a dish that was once seen as futuristic, but has since disappeared completely. Stay tuned. Lobster Newberg. Rich and creamy, Lobster Newberg was the height of luxury in the late 1800s and early 1900s. This dish, made with fresh lobster, cream, cognac, and egg yolks, became a symbol of wealth and indulgence. Often served at the most exclusive restaurants, it was beloved by those who could afford to enjoy its rich flavors and elegant presentation. Despite its opulence, however, Lobster Newberg gradually faded from popularity as tastes shifted towards lighter, more modern fare. Why did this dish, once a sign of wealth, disappear? We'll reveal that soon. Crown roast of lamb. Crown roast of lamb was the show-stopping centerpiece of many formal dinners, particularly in the early 1900s. The lamb ribs were carefully arranged into a crown shape, filled with savory stuffing, and roasted to perfection. This dish was not only a feast for the taste buds, but also a visual masterpiece, impressing guests with its grandeur. Served at the most extravagant gatherings, it was a true symbol of luxury and celebration. Have you ever seen or tried this? Hit that like if you do. Oysters Rockefeller. Created in 1899 in New Orleans, Oysters Rockefeller was named after John D. Rockefeller due to its richness and luxury. This dish consisted of baked oysters topped with a green herb butter sauce, often including spinach and breadcrumbs. It quickly became a symbol of wealth and indulgence, served in the most exclusive restaurants. Its rich, savory flavor made it a favorite among those who wanted to experience the height of fine dining. Ever had Oysters Rockefeller? What's your take on it? But there's an even more luxurious dish coming up that you won't believe. Waldorf Salad. Created in the 1890s at the prestigious Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York, Waldorf Salad became an instant symbol of upscale dining. This simple yet elegant dish was made with a mix of apples, celery, and mayonnaise, sometimes enhanced with grapes or walnuts for added flavor and texture. It was a staple on fancy menus and a must-have at high society gatherings during its time, combining freshness and richness in one bite. Do you think this classic should make a comeback? Hit like if you agree. But our next dish was a favorite during times of celebration, and you'll never guess what it was: deviled ham. In the early to mid-1900s, deviled ham was a pantry staple, loved for its spicy, tangy flavor and incredible convenience. Packaged in small, easy-to-store tins, this flavorful spread was a go-to option for sandwiches, party dips, or quick meals. The deviled part of its name referred to the added heat, typically from mustard, pepper, or other spices, giving it a distinctive kick that set it apart from plain ham spreads. Deviled ham wasn't just practical, it had a bold, savory taste that people couldn't get enough of. Whether spread on crackers, used in sandwiches, or mixed into salads, it was a versatile option that made meal prep a breeze. It was especially popular during times when processed, canned foods were considered modern and convenient. As time passed and preferences shifted toward fresher, less processed ingredients, deviled ham gradually disappeared from many kitchen pantries. However, for those who remember it, this classic spread is a nostalgic reminder of mid-20th century meals and gatherings. Would you still try deviled ham today? Comment yes or no below. Shoofly Pie, a beloved dessert in Pennsylvania Dutch communities. Shoofly Pie is a molasses-heavy treat with a unique history and name. This pie became popular in the late 19th century, named for the necessity to shoo away flies that were drawn to its sugary sweetness. The pie features a rich, sticky filling made from molasses and brown sugar, giving it a deep, comforting flavor. The crumbly topping adds texture, creating the perfect contrast between the soft filling and the crisp, buttery crumbs. Shoofly pie was a staple at family gatherings, church picnics, and special occasions. Its rustic charm and sweet, sticky flavor made it a favorite among generations. For many, this dessert evokes memories of home-cooked meals and simpler times, when pies were made from scratch and recipes were passed down through families. Though it may be less common today, Shoofly pie remains a nostalgic favorite for those who grew up with it or who appreciate the deep, comforting flavors of molasses-based desserts. Love nostalgic treats like this? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to discover more delicious dishes from the past. Ration cake, Wacky cake. During World War II, when essential ingredients like butter, eggs, and milk were strictly rationed, households had to get creative in the kitchen. Enter ration cake, also known as Wacky cake, a clever dessert that became a staple during the war years. Using pantry-friendly substitutes like vinegar, baking soda, and oil, this cake managed to achieve a surprisingly moist and rich texture without traditional ingredients. The acidity from the vinegar reacted with the baking soda, creating a light, fluffy cake that didn't require eggs or dairy. Though it started as a necessity, Wacky cake became a beloved treat for families who still craved something sweet despite the limitations of wartime. It was often flavored with cocoa powder to create a chocolate cake, making it a delightful indulgence that many families would bake again and again. This recipe was passed down through generations and is still a nostalgic favorite today, reminding people of the resilience and resourcefulness that defined that era. If you love learning about creative recipes from the past, give this video a like. Jell-O Mold. Jell-O molds. If you grew up in the 1950s or 60s, these wobbly, colorful creations were likely a centerpiece at every family gathering or party. Whether stuffed with fruits, vegetables, or even more unusual ingredients like seafood, Jell-O molds were the height of mid-century culinary fun. Their versatility made them a go-to dessert for homemakers who wanted to add a playful, eye-catching dish to the table. These gelatin-based dishes weren't just about flavor, they were about presentation. Shaped in elaborate molds, Jell-O dishes would jiggle on the plate, adding a whimsical element to any meal. Popular flavors ranged from lime and strawberry to more unusual savory varieties, and they were often decorated with fruit slices, whipped cream, or even marshmallows. For children and adults alike, Jell-O molds became synonymous with family gatherings and celebrations, embodying the lightheartedness of post-war America. Today, Jell-O molds evoke nostalgia for those who remember the quirky charm of this mid-century classic. Do you have any memories of colorful Jell-O creations at your family's dinner table? What's the weirdest thing you've ever had in a Jell-O mold? Let us know in the comments. Chicken a la king. Chicken a la king became a household staple during the mid-20th century, offering a rich and indulgent dish that families couldn't get enough of. Originally created in the late 1800s, this creamy, savory meal reached its peak popularity in the 1950s and 60s. The dish was made with diced chicken, mushrooms, and bell peppers, all cooked in a velvety cream sauce, sometimes enhanced with sherry or chicken stock for added depth. Whether served over rice, toast, or puff pastry, it became a versatile option for both casual family dinners and fancier occasions. Part of the appeal of Chicken a la King was its blend of comfort and sophistication. It was simple enough to make at home, but elegant enough to serve at a dinner party. Some variations of the recipe included peas or hard-boiled eggs, adding even more richness to the already decadent meal. Its creamy sauce and tender chicken provided a satisfying, warming dish that could be whipped up quickly, making it a beloved comfort food for busy homemakers. As trends shifted toward lighter and healthier fare, Chicken a la King began to fade from menus, but for many it remains a nostalgic dish that evokes memories of family dinners and mid-century cooking. Chicken Divan. Originally created at the Divan Parisian restaurant in New York, Chicken Divan quickly rose to fame as a luxurious casserole dish that combined elegance and convenience. Popular in mid-20th century America, this casserole featured tender chicken and fresh broccoli, all smothered in a rich, creamy sauce. Typically, the sauce was a bechamel, or a blend of cream of mushroom soup and mayonnaise, which was poured over the ingredients before being topped with a generous layer of cheese, often cheddar or parmesan. Once assembled, Chicken Divan was baked until the top turned golden and bubbly, creating a decadent meal that became a favorite for family dinners and special occasions alike. Its versatility made it a go-to option for busy families. The casserole could be prepared ahead of time and reheated, making it a practical choice for weeknight meals or entertaining guests. Over the years, variations of the recipe emerged, with some cooks adding sherry for extra depth or swapping out ingredients to suit their tastes. Though Chicken Divan has since faded from mainstream dining, it remains a beloved dish for those who remember the comforting, creamy flavors that defined mid-century American cooking. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating food history. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Who knows? Next time, we might uncover even more forgotten meals that deserve a second chance.